I just got done therapy and I'm starting to have to realize that I have to live my truth of, I don't want to be with my husband anymore. I am constantly feeling like I'm being held down. And part of that is codependence, where his energy is impacting my energy. And I got really sad. I got sad that he was talking about going to all these places that I remember us going to or like talking about going to. And I was like, are you going to pick someone up? And he's like,
guys, welcome to this episode. Today's story is wild. We've got a woman who left her husband, still lives with him, has a whole new boyfriend, and yet cries at the thought of her ex moving on. She wants the thrill from Chad, the security from her ex, and somehow both men on standby like streaming subscriptions. Let's get started.
I just got done therapy and I'm starting to have to realize that I have to live my truth of, I don't want to be with my husband anymore.
By now, when we hear therapy, we already know a man somewhere is about to lose half his stuff. Therapy is basically a consulting firm for solo rebrands. The guy's out here paying insurance, probably even footing the therapy bill, thinking she's going to come back with coping strategies. Instead, she comes home with a sword sharpened for his neck. Therapy today is like the guillotine factory. You pay for the session and you get executed in the parking lot. Let's continue.
I am constantly feeling like I'm being held down. And part of that is codependence, where his energy is impacting my energy. But like it does. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, have really strong boundaries. Like, other people shouldn't impact you. But like, I don't think that's reality. People impact other people. And I need to accept that I got with my husband out of potential. He had the potential to be a great earner. He had the potential to be a great father. And you know what? All of that is true. He is a great father. He is a great provider. He's not a great partner. And that's not really because of anyone's fault. It's just our personalities don't really jive. Like, I am chaotic and wild, and I love that about me. And for the longest time, he, anchored me. He held me down because I couldn't regulate myself. But I can regulate myself because I am an adult now.
Let's call it what it is. She doesn't miss chaos. She misses the dopamine rush of the streets, that adrenaline of chasing Chad with a perfect jawline and zero responsibilities. Family life doesn't flood her brain like getting left on red by a guy in a gray hoodie. Her husband gave her security, but security doesn't light up her neurons like a shirtless selfie at 1 a.m. So now she's mistaking boredom for enlightenment, calling it growth. No, what she really wants is to relive the thrill of gambling on men who wouldn't even pay for parking, while the guy she married is out here covering her mortgage. Worst part? He's about to fund her next gamble with alimony. Imagine paying for someone's therapy only to find out it was really just detox before their next binge.
And he tries to let go of the anchor, right? But then when we live our own independent lives, I realize, like, I don't really want to intersect with you much. Like, what's funny is I think we already do what we need to do to be good parents, but he's not giving me the time of day. He refuses to sit down with me. Everything's my idea, right? He doesn't initiate anything. I would be fine doing everything on my own. He just makes things a little easier with childcare and money and money. But is that enough? I don't think it is. And so instead of being like, oh, do I want to be with him? Do I not? Oh, well, he's kind of good. Oh, this, maybe he'll change. He won't. And if he does change, it's not at the pace that I am changing. And I am changing so rapidly. I'm flying away. I'm flying away. And if he tries to tether me, it's going to snap. Like, I need to fly away.
Listen to how flimsy this whole speech is. She's not really describing a broken marriage. She's describing minor annoyances and trying to spin them into a felony case. If not initiating enough is a divorce-worthy crime, then 90% of marriages should have collapsed at the dinner table by now. What she really wants is for this man to hand her the smoking gun, cheat, scream, mess up, so she can leave with clean hands. But he won't. He's steady, boring, too normal. That's the problem. He's not playing villain, and she's desperate for one. So instead of hard evidence, she's cooking up vibes. He makes childcare and money easier, but is that enough? Oh, you mean the two hardest parts of adulthood. The man literally handles both, and you're filing that under not enough? That's like saying your car drives perfectly, has gas, never breaks down, but it doesn't sing karaoke, so you're trading it in. And then she hits the grand finale. I'm flying away. You're not flying, sweetheart. You're just running from stability and calling it personal growth. He's the anchor keeping your balloon from floating into traffic. Without him, it's not flight, it's turbulence. So after the divorce, she dropped another video. Let's have a look.
As you all know, I am separated from my kid's father. However, we still cohabitate and co-parent very well together. And also, I'm in a long-term relationship with another man and very content in that. And yet the grief of the loss of the relationship with my husband, it comes in waves. And it's so frustrating to me because it's not like I actually think that it's a suitable long, like that kind of relationship is not suitable for us, like a romantic one, but I yearn for it. I yearn for the familiarity of him. He's going away with our friends from college, which, you know, are his friends, not my friends. And it is what it is. It's okay. And I got really sad. I got sad that he was talking about going to all these places that I remember us going to or like talking about going to. And I was like, are you going to pick someone up? And he's like, at the bar? And I was like, yeah. Like, he goes, do I have to talk to you about it first? And I was like, no, you can do whatever you want. And he's like, well, I'd talk to you about it after. I'm like, yeah, of course you'd talk to me about it after. I just want to hear what you're doing. And he's just like, I don't know. Like, that's not really, I guess I could. And I just started kind of like welling up with tears. And he's like, what? And I'm like, just imagining you like flirting with another person and how much I loved when you were animated and happy and excited and would flirt with me.
She is straight up gaslighting her ex. Think about it. She's the one who left. She's in another relationship. And yet here she is tearing up at the thought of him flirting. That's emotional checkmate. She wants him locked in the box as provider and co-parent. But the moment he dares to act single, she guilt trips him with tears. This is classic. She cut him loose, but still wants to control his moves. She's basically holding the divorce remote with the battery still in. Play, pause, rewind, all depending on her mood. And the kicker? She doesn't miss him, she misses the way he made her feel. That's not grief, that's a nostalgia filter. She doesn't want the man back, she just doesn't want the attention going to anyone else. Basically, she downgraded him from husband to emotional support animal. Useful to cry over, not allowed to roam free. And the poor guy's stuck like an app running in the background, not deleted, but never allowed to update either.
And he's like, yeah, but he's like, I'm still not going to initiate. That's still not who I am. And I was like, yeah, but people come on to you, like when you're out, like, you know that it's happened a lot. And he's just like, yeah, I'll entertain it. And I was like, right. So I'm sad about that. And he goes, but Megan, your issue is that I never initiate anything. And he goes, and I'm still not an initiator. Like, that has not changed. I'm like, no, understood. And I think I just had a moment where I almost feel like he was like an actual like human to me. He's a very flat person. He just doesn't exude emotion. He doesn't express himself. And this morning, he just was like talking, and I was like having fun conversing with him, and it just made me sad of like, oh, not what if, because I know it's not, But it just, again, it made me sad that, like, can't have anything simple, like, just can't have the simple life that I thought I was gonna have. And yeah, my life is complicated, and I also feel it a lot that school's starting and talking with parents, and they're like, oh, what'd you do? And I was like, oh, I went on these trips. And they're like, oh, how'd the kids like it? I'm like, oh, I actually went with my boyfriend and his kids. And they're like, what?
This whole saga boils down to one thing. She wants to eat her cake and have the bakery too. On one side, she's got the boyfriend, Mr. Chad, giving her that dopamine hit, the chaos, the thrill, the wild and free vibes she swears she needs. On the other side, she's got the ex-husband, Mr. Stability, the anchor, the guy who pays the bills, keeps the kids alive, and makes sure the Wi-Fi works. And she wants both running side by side like dual apps on her phone. Chad for the fun, husband for the security. That's why she keeps calling him flat, emotionless, boring. Of course he's boring. He's busy being responsible. The guy's not supposed to be her chaos, he was supposed to be her foundation. And now she wants to punish him for not being both the rock and the fireworks show. What she really wanted was two men in one body. The Chad who runs through her on the side, and the husband who brings home the stability. Since that doesn't exist, she tried to split the job in half. And now she's shocked the stable half might decide he's done funding the circus.